So Republicans and Democrats have both come out with the stimulus package, and surprise, surprise, both of them failed the test. We're going to talk about that and the differences between the bills today on the Driven Progressive. So, yesterday, after the Republican bill failed to get out of committee, the Democrats released their very own stimulus package. Now, instead of taking this golden opportunity to release a bill that isn't pork filled and specifically just helps the American worker, they decided to release a giant 1,400-page bill. And honestly, this is just ridiculous. This is not what we need to be doing right now. We cannot be bickering over partisan goodies. We have to get money in the hands of the American worker, because in 6 days rent is going to be due, car payments are going to be due, credit card payments are going to be due, and people are worried, and they're going to start getting more worried, and they're going to start losing their minds. Now, we have plenty of time for these partisan fights, and honestly, big companies will survive. If a bill doesn't get passed till next week that helps corporations, they will be just fine. But we have to get money to the American worker. Now, even though I'm not in love with the Democratic bill, it does have some good parts of it. Let's take a look at a couple of those. One of the good things it does, instead of $1,200 payments, it gives people $1,500 payments. And instead of just people who file taxes in 2018 or are on Social Security, it extends them to people that are unemployed, anybody with the tax ID number, and even retirees. Also, some of the other good things it does is it gives more help to hospitals and expanding unemployment benefits. Healthcare providers and community health centers will receive about 150 billion, while hospitals will get an additional 80 billion in low-interest loans. The proposal is more in line with what the industry has requested, compared to the 75 billion Senate Republicans have offered. The House bill would also waive treatment costs, abandon certain barriers to accessing medicines, and provide safety protections for health workers. Now, the unemployment side, the unemployment would get an extra $600 per week on top of the state or federal benefits in order to replace 100% of lost wages. The measure would also extend paid sick leave benefits to cover individuals such as healthcare workers, first responders, who are cut out of Congress's second coronavirus response bill. It also gives extra aid to small businesses. The Democratic bill is pitching $500 billion in grants and interest-free loans to small businesses, including $300 billion in forgivable loans to cover short-term payroll costs. That's compared to $300 billion in loans for small businesses in the Senate bill. Now, don't get me wrong, those are all good things. Let's take a look at some of the bad things, though. One of the problems with the Democratic bill is there's just way, way, way too much in it. Like this part here that says any company that takes a bailout must have a fully funded gender and diversity initiative. That's just not what we need right now in a time of crisis. We need to get money to the American workers, period. One of the problems with the Republican bill was the $500 billion slush fund, which was doled out by Secretary Mnuchin. Well, this one still has a $150 billion slush fund that can be doled out by Secretary Mnuchin. We can't have that. That's not the way to do these things. Listen, my problem with the Democratic bill isn't what's in it, it's that so much is in it. You're going to have all this partisan fighting over everything in this bill, and it's going to take too long to pass. All they need to do is come to the floor with a clean bill that passes and has money for workers. We need to get checks to workers so they can ease tensions, so they can know that they're going to be covered for a month. That is the problem. People are going to start losing, houses, cars, going in deeper and deeper in debt. And it's going to cause people to not want to stay home. And it's going to make them want to risk going back out into the world. If the Democrats came to the floor of the Senate with a bill, if they passed it through the House, came to the floor of the Senate with a bill that just helped American workers, I dare Republicans to reject that. It's just not going to happen. But nobody wants to do that because we're too worried about getting all our goodies in the wish list. That's not the time to do that. We need to help people out. Now, with that being said, the Republican bill was even worse. Let's take a look at a couple of things from that. Basically, the worst parts of the Republican bill go like this. Even if you get a bailout, you don't have to necessarily keep your workers. There's no language in there specifically stating that you must keep your workers. Secondly, It says no stock buybacks, but if you get a special waiver from the Treasury, you can do stock buybacks. So there's no guarantee that there won't be stock buybacks. There's no guarantee that if you get a bailout, you have to keep your workers. And the $500 billion that's allocated for the bailout is doled out by Steve Mnuchin. And Trump companies can be a part of it. So Trump can use this money to bail out his own companies. This is some of the worst parts of the bill, and in my view, are a non-starter. Listen, if there's one thing this coronavirus has really shown, it's how fragile our entire system is. We are the world's superpower, and we have absolutely no safety net set up. We're looking at 2 weeks that basically this has been going on, and the head of the St. Louis Fed is talking about as much as 30% unemployment. 30%. The highest it was during the Great Depression was 24%. I think we really need to get some safety nets set up. We need to get a more progressive agenda put in line. But what we can't do right now is bicker over partisan issues. And both sides are trying to do it, and I think it's just horrible. We have the rich elites on each side, the Republicans and the Democrats, trying to score points, and now is not the time to do it. By the way, where's Joe Biden in all this? Like, has anybody seen Joe Biden? He had like one horrible press conference the other day where his teleprompter broke. Like, can he maybe step up to the plate and show some leadership? But, alright, listen, I'm going to keep this video short today, but I really think what we need to do is just pass a bill that gets money into the hands of workers, and that's what we need to be pushing for. We can pass a bill about corporations next week or the week after that, but we have to get money in the hands of workers. This needs to be a trickle up bailout, not a trickle down. Last time we tried a trickle down bailout with the TARP Act, and it didn't work out very well. It took us 3-4 years to recover. Basically Obama's entire first term. We need a trickle up bill that's going to help out the American worker. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. Be sure to follow me on my Instagram at Driven Progressive. And I'm really trying to make something out of this channel. I really want it to be a place where people in the progressive community can come and we can discuss issues, things we need to do, like Medicare for all, like a Green New Deal, like $15 minimum wage. And please engage in the comments down below. Let me know what my next video should be about. Think about subscribing, maybe, just maybe. But anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot. Peace.